Every human life begins in the same incredible way, with a single cell. In this video, we'll explore how that cell becomes a baby, and what psychology tells us about how early experiences in the womb can shape later development. Prenatal development refers to the process that happens between conception and birth. Psychologists and developmental scientists divide this process into three main stages: the germinal stage, the embryonic stage, and the fetal stage. Let's start with the germinal stage, which begins at conception. When a sperm cell from a father fertilizes an egg from a mother, the result is a single cell called a zygote. This zygote begins dividing rapidly through a process called mitosis. Within a few days, it becomes a cluster of cells called a blastocyst, which travels down the fallopian tube and implants itself into the uterine wall. This whole process takes about 2 weeks, and by the end of it, the groundwork is laid for everything to come. Next is the embryonic stage, which lasts from week 3 to week 8. This is a critical period. The cells begin to differentiate. That means they start becoming specialized types of cells. Some will form the heart, others the brain, others the skin. Basic structures like the spinal cord, heart, and limbs begin to form. This is also when the neural tube forms, the foundation of the central nervous system. Because so much is happening, the embryo is especially vulnerable during this stage. Exposure to harmful substances, called teratogens, can have serious effects. Teratogens include things like alcohol, tobacco, certain drugs, and even some infections. For example, exposure to alcohol can lead to fetal alcohol spectrum disorder, FASD, which can cause lifelong problems with learning, behavior, and physical development. By around the end of week 8, the embryo is about the size of a kidney bean. But its organs have started to take shape, and it now enters the longest phase of development, the fetal stage. The fetal stage lasts from week 9 until birth. This is when the fetus starts growing rapidly in size and complexity. The brain develops dramatically, especially the cerebral cortex, the part responsible for thinking, memory, and awareness. By week 12, the fetus can make small movements. By week 20, the mother can usually feel it kicking. Around week 24, the fetus starts to respond to sounds, like the mother's voice or music from outside the womb. Psychological research suggests that learning begins before birth. In a famous study by DeCasper and Spence in 1986, pregnant mothers read a story out loud every day during the final weeks of pregnancy. After the babies were born, researchers found that the infants preferred the story they'd heard in the womb. This showed that newborns could recognize and remember sounds from before they were even born. The fetal brain also develops sensory pathways, which lay the groundwork for future perception, sight, sound, touch, and even taste. By around week 28, the fetus reaches what's known as the age of viability, the point at which it could survive outside the womb with medical support, although development is still far from complete. The final weeks before birth are a time of finishing touches. Fat builds up under the skin, the lungs mature, and the brain forms important neural connections. When birth finally arrives, the baby has already experienced 9 months of astonishing growth, from one cell to a tiny human with billions of neurons. So why does this matter to psychology? Because prenatal development sets the stage for everything that follows. Health, stress, nutrition, and environment during pregnancy can all affect a child's future behavior, learning, and emotional development. Psychologists now recognize the prenatal environment as the first classroom, where learning, influence, and development begin earlier than we ever imagined. In our next video, we'll look at how the brain continues to develop after birth, and why early childhood is such a critical period for psychological growth.